become an astronaut admired by thousands of people, the man decided to take the risk. I saw him take out a bag of someone else's urine from the refrigerator, tied to his thigh. Then inside the fake fingerprint film, infused with someone else's high-quality blood, then use glue to fit it tightly on the index finger of your right hand. Immediately afterwards, I came to the National Aeronautics and Space Administration for an interview and to hand only saw he put his index finger on the blood collection device at the security checkpoint. Then the green light turns on. It was announced that he passed the first level of the interview. When reaching the second level, he took advantage of the doctor not paying attention. Inject the prepared urine into the container. It has been tested that the genes in this are very good. So he easily become a member of NASA.
Congratulations.
What about the interview?
That was it.
Turns out that in the future world, genes have become mankind's most honest resume. Just a drop of blood or urine can identify a person's ability and the man's operation of stealing the beam and changing the pillar. In fact, you are using other people's good genes. Just because when he was born, the doctor detected a variety of inferior genes.
Pathological condition, 60% probability. Manic depression, 42% probability. Heart disorder, 99% probability.
不仅如此，
There is still a chance that he will die, and the expected lifespan is only 30 years old. The wife wanted to use her husband's name the crystallization of their love, but after hearing this, her husband quickly objected. A name that I'm proud of. How can it be inherited from a flawless child? Then, so he took it upon himself to name him Vincent. But even so, his mother still believes that he can make a difference in the future. But the cruel reality, his fantasy was soon shattered. Vincent, who carries the cleft gene, she is so weak that she falls down for no reason even when walking. And the kindergarten also refused to admit him, because the dean Hunt, afraid that he would die young in his own park. The successive setbacks made the mother begin to compromise. Follow your husband instead. Come to the Gene Institute to customize your next baby. It turns out that in the future world, humanity has achieved eugenics and eugenics. Parents can do this while the fetus is still a fertilized egg. Just select the good genes you want to inherit, so that the newborn is almost perfect in every aspect. And the reason why Vincent carries inferior weapons, it's because his parents acted on impulse in the car. Results of natural conception. Not long after, a younger brother with superior genes was born. He crushes Vincent in everything from IQ to height. Naturally, he inherited his father Anton's name. It also logically took away all the preferences of his parents. Vincent on the side, reluctantly erasing the traces of his height. But how can the genes engraved in the bones be easily erased? In order to prove that he is not inferior to his outstanding brother, Vincent will always take advantage of his parents' lack of time to pay attention, taking my brother to the beach to play coward's game. The rule of the game is that two people swim forward at the same time. Whoever retreats first is a coward. But even, Vincent spared no effort to move forward every time. That gap in the genes. In the end, he will be completely defeated. Maybe I'm tired of this, a life of inferiority everywhere. So from time to time, Vincent has always wanted to escape from the Earth, fly to space. Therefore, he never leaves his hand reading a book every day, tirelessly, just so that one day my dream can come true. But his mother advised him not to have any wild ideas, because no space agency will want people with defects who have a 99% chance of developing heart disease. Even his father advised him to recognize the reality.
The way that you'll see the inside of a spaceship is if you were cleaning it.
My parents dissuaded me. It doesn't stop him from dreaming. Related to self-study, after qualification, he immediately came to an airline for an interview. However, as soon as he entered the door, he realized the cruelty of reality, because the interview didn't even look at his carefully written resume. Instead, he took out a urine test cup and asked him to test his genes. This ruthless system daunted him. Perhaps, I will never be able to bridge the genetic gap in my life. So frustrated, he found his younger brother. I plan to play the coward's game one last time. If the ending is the same, then he will completely hide his dream. But this time, a miracle happened to this flawless man again. Brother found out, no matter what, I can't get rid of my frail and sick brother. Till the end, his exhausted physical strength forced him to admit defeat and seek help from the Lord. Airplane. After hearing this, Vincent quickly turned back, rescued brother from near drowning. This sudden victory, the soul that made him hit rock bottom, I saw a new hope again. It turns out that innate genes cannot completely defeat acquired efforts, so the next day he tore off the picture of himself on the family photo, then without hesitation, leaving this family with no sense of belonging. Instead, he embarked on a dream-chasing journey. But he has no background and no genes. Initially, he could only do the lowest level cleaning work. After several years of hard work, just barely got the chance to clean the glass for NASA. Watching the rockets pierce the blue sky while working, he couldn't help but think about it. But the language that comes with it pulled him back to the abyss of reality.
How about you, Your Majesty? You dreaming of space?
Arriving above the NASA base, he witnessed another rocket take off. But this time the distance is even closer, but it made him realize deeply the powerlessness of dreams that cannot be reached, because as a cleaner, I can't look up at the stars all the time. At most, you can only take advantage of the fact that no one is around. Go to the engineer's workstation and experience it for a moment. Fleeting moment. Through glass, go and get a glimpse of the high spirits of those regular employees. But even though I feel weak, he never thought of giving up. For the sake of the heart, he works hard and studies every day, until exhausted, twitching all over. Just give yourself room to breathe. But no amount of effort can cover up genetic disadvantages. NASA blood detector. He is always on the road to chasing dreams, the resistance that makes it difficult to move forward. This made him realize, want to get to the other side of dreams, extraordinary measures must be taken. Just at this time, a genetic middleman came to our door, claiming to have a copy of good genes available to him. It turns out that in the future, genes can determine birth, but you can't write your destiny. So even the elites who carry good genes, they will also be overwhelmed by various setbacks and their noble genetic status. Naturally, it has become a valuable commodity in the black market. Under the guidance of an intermediary, Vincent met Jerome, the target of this transaction. He was a good swimmer. Not only physically strong, the IQ is surprisingly high, but a sudden car accident. But his wonderful life chapter came to an abrupt end. Fortunately, the car accident happened abroad. Local genetic profile, the fact that he was paralyzed from the lower body was not recorded. Vincent felt that the two of them looked nothing alike. But the agent said, who would look carefully at a photo these days? Compared to appearance, people are more willing to trust genetic testing. Now Vincent needs Jerome's genetic identity. to open the way to the future, and Jerome's condition is, Vincent wants to spend half of his future salary to provide for him to maintain a secret life, required by each district. The two hit it off immediately. Transformation started immediately. Customized invisible lenses for myopia. Reimplantation of deformed teeth under glasses. After some careful carving, the appearance of the two people is indeed somewhat similar, but mere physical resemblance is not enough. Jerome's official height is 1.85 meters. Vincent is only 1.76 meters tall. If you want others not to see it, he will have to undergo bone augmentation surgery.
I won't do that.
The excruciating pain after the operation made him desperate for life, but his sober will reminds him all the time. Wait until you stand up again. The distance from the sky is shortened by another 9 centimeters. In days of recovery, Vincent tried his best to correct his left-handed habit. Use your right hand over and over again. Jerome's name written on it. His fierce determination makes Jerome question. To know, even if he brings together a variety of advantageous genes, in the end, I still succumb to others. Got a silver medal, and this flawed person in front of me is inferior in every way. Where did I get the confidence to become an astronaut?
How do you expect to pull this off?
I don't know exactly.
Of course he doesn't know if he can succeed, but he knows, if you don't try your best, will never be found. The vast stars beyond the sky. As we get along day after day, Jerome gradually becomes curious about Vincent.
I really want to be in there. I don't want to be in there. I want to be up there. What's up there? That's what I want to find out, Jerome.
At this moment he seemed to suddenly understand Vincent's persistence and hard work. It turns out that even a defective person in the gutter, you can also have the right to look up at the stars. It will be released as expected in a few weeks. Roma can handle it calmly for Vincent. I specially prepared several bags of urine and several tubes of fresh blood. And Vincent lived up to his high expectations, relying on one hand to steal the beam and change the pillar. Passed the interview easily, but he who successfully entered the space agency didn't let down his guard. Smug. On the contrary, before going to work every day, I will clean the dandruff on my body very carefully. Then, let the traces of these flaws be burned away in the flames. At the same time, Jerome will be ready on time too. His excellent body specimen, for his use, every day before get off work, Vincent will clean it carefully. Magazines left at workstation. Immediately afterwards, then carefully pour Jerome's excellent sample. And to guard against those who are interested, he also specially arranged Jerome's hair, put it on the comb. All luck is a gift of hard work. With years of love and precipitation, he has everything he needs at work, and developed a space program. It was also highly recognized by the supervisor. Therefore, in just 2 months, he was promoted to chief astronaut. In a week, he will be able to fly to the space he longs for. It was so fast that even Jerome was stunned. He is well aware of his excellent genes, just the threshold for entering the space agency. Stand out from the crowd of geniuses. Being elected as an astronaut is the hard part, but the flawless person in front of me did it easily. This extraordinary performance impressed him with admiration, but just when he thought his dream had come true. Previously, another executive who had been blocking the space program, but I don't know why he died mysteriously, and he also made a fatal mistake because of his nervousness. That's at the crime scene. One of my eyelashes fell off. Naturally, this could not escape the police's extensive search. Tested. This eyelash comes from a person with blemishes that disappeared into thin air. Cleaner. And the genes also contain a serious tendency toward violence. Unfortunately, the person responsible for this case is Vincent. Ching looked at the photos on the genetic profile. He suddenly felt inexplicably familiar. However, Vincent, who has not noticed the danger coming quietly, currently celebrating with Jerome in the bar. The drunken red wine reveals the maxims buried in the heart.
You should be going instead of me. Why is that? Because up there, your legs wouldn't matter.
Jerome listened. There was a hint of sadness and unwillingness on his face. After returning home, drunk, he decided not to hide it anymore. He confessed, the paralysis of my legs was not an accident due to the car accident. It is the inevitable consequence of being unable to recover after being overwhelmed by life.
I've been more sober in my life. Gotta say, if at first you don't succeed, try again.
It turns out that Jerome, who has a variety of excellent genes, since birth, I have to bear the burden of pursuing the first place in everything, and the silver medal who has no skills is inferior to others. It became a stain on his perfect life. It also became the reason why he wanted to die. The next day, police show supervisors photos of suspects in case, and intends to print it out and make it public. Because they all believe in geneticism. People who do not have violent tendencies in their genes are unlikely to commit crimes, and the crime scene, the only flawed person with violent tendencies, he was naturally judged to be the murderer. At this time, Vincent realized that he was in a critical situation. Sudden rapid heartbeat. Just when the abnormal radio waves were noticed by everyone, he took off the new pills with quick eyesight and quick hands. Instead, pretend to be calm. Escaped from this place where I can't stay for long. He originally thought he could hide from the world without leaving any traces, but I didn't expect it. After all, it is difficult to escape the judgment of the determined fate. At this time, my brother is carefully investigating recent NASA entry and exit records. But Vincent, who was still in shock, committed another crime. Fatal mistake. That is the paper cup that I touched. He handed it to the cleaner casually. Then he found his colleague Irene. Want to find out some information about the case investigation. Eileen was the first to admit her mistake, because she stole the hair from Vincent's comb. I secretly took a genetic test, but the test results showed that her genes were flawless. This makes Aaron feel ashamed, also envious.
Seems you're everything they say you are and more.
The envy in his heart stems from his own shortcomings, because although Eileen is also born with customized genes, but he has a very high complication rate of heart failure, so the hope of flying into space is very slim. But Vincent said, well,
If there's anything wrong with you, I can't see it from where I'm standing.
These words were taken by Eileen as a misunderstanding of distrust. Pull out her hair immediately. Let her take it for genetic testing. But after Vincent took over his hair, but it just made her disappear in the wind. Use this to prove that you really don't value genes. This made Erin's favorability towards her soar instantly, an inexplicable feeling, surging in the heart that has been dusty for a long time. The next day, police put photos on Vincent's genetic profile, transferred to every computer in the company, even though he has changed his appearance now. But I'm still afraid that the truth will come out. Great sense of panic, even let him do a familiar job. First mistakes were made. The inner uneasiness is like a lingering nightmare. Lingering. The circling pressure drove him to give up. Turning to Jerome's carefully prepared sample, all poured into the toilet, get it over with. When Jerome saw it, he angrily scolded him for giving up halfway. I also advised him to stop thinking nonsense.
When they look at you, they don't see you anymore, they only see me.
Vincent finally calmed down. He knows, flying into space is no longer his only dream. It's the shared vision of two people. Since then, he began to treat daily life more cautiously. Try your best not to allow any danger to take advantage of. And during this period, the distance between him and Irene has become closer and closer. The two met in a concert hall to listen to piano music. As the pianist's fingers fly all the way over the keys, the two of them also reach the other side of love in their hearts. After the show, the pianist puts his gloves on, as a gift to thank the audience. The weird thing is, Vincent discovered that there were 6 fingers on the glove. It turns out that this much anticipated pianist, she is also a defective person who conceived naturally, but it is this imperfect property, helped him play the perfect melody. At the same time, it also pieced together the vivid colors of the real world. Can wait until we drive home. But he found, the police have already set up barriers at various intersections, step-by-step inventory. Then, he quickly took off his contact lenses to avoid pupil detection. Then he lied in the saliva testing room. I just kissed Erin. Finally, used the fake fingerprint film prepared in advance. Only then was he able to muddle through, but the danger has not been eliminated. At this time, Eileen proposed to take her to see the beautiful scenery. He immediately stopped the car, turned off the engine, and ran to the other side of the road. Vehicles that can cross endless streams of traffic. Not easy for Vincent, because her vision was already hazy after taking off her glasses. But in order not to reveal the truth, after hesitating, she decided to make a desperate move. Fortunately, there was no danger in the end. The two successfully reunited. Erin then took her to the NASA base. It turns out that the beautiful scenery he mentioned, it is the first ray of morning light reflected by the glass of the base. I saw streaks of golden light spreading along with the sunrise, until it extends to the ambiguous hearts of the two, accompanied by the warm sunshine. They wandered through quiet moments when no one was around, not knowing that a greater danger has quietly appeared, because Vincent casually handed the paper cup to the cleaner. At this time, it was collected by the police as evidence. The genes on the paper cup and the genes on the eyelashes were tested. This proves that the suspect committed the crime, returned to the scene of the crime, and also drank a glass of water, so it is very likely that he is an employee of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. So the police organized a blood test the next day. Vincent pretended to be in pain and picked him up while the blood was being drawn. Then the blood that had been prepared in advance was dropped into the package, thus under the watchful eye of the police. The perfect implementation of stealing the bean and replacing it with a pill after testing and comparison. The genes in the blood come from Jerome. In this way, he narrowly escaped death again. At the same time, project managers are fed up with police waste, and the interrogation found nothing. He warned the detectives not to interrupt their work plans again, because of the launch project taking place this weekend, only once every 70 years. After hearing this, the police detective began to suspect the supervisor. This project means a lot to you. The deceased strongly opposed it during his lifetime, so you also have a criminal motive. However, after hearing this, the supervisor, but he confidently asked them to open their eyes wide. Let's check the genetic profile again.
Won't find a violent bone in my body.
In the end, the two of them could only return empty-handed. This gave Vincent some breathing room. After nightfall, he and Irene met at the dance. Ambiguous feelings spread along with the dance steps. However, at this time, the police came to make a surprise inspection at an inappropriate time. This time, unprepared Vincent could only flee in panic when he saw this. Come to the door, he knocked down the guard with one punch, then took Eileen, ran all the way to a hidden corner. At this time, the younger brother seemed to have made up his mind. He shouted out the familiar name loudly. Vincent! Vincent! By now, Erin just realized, it turned out that the colleague I had admired for a long time. In fact, he is a flawed person who assumes his identity. But the raging love made her choose silence, and decided to keep Vincent's unknown secret. However, at this time, the younger brother passing through the remaining skin flakes on the beaten guard's face, doing genetic testing, it was identified that the attacker last night was Vincent. So he came to Vincent's workstation the next day, collect body samples, prepare for genetic comparison, and he was doing space simulation training, but had no idea about it. But fortunately, Irene caught this scene in time. He quickly hinted that Vincent should take leave and go home to avoid inspection. And the other side, before Vincent's brother was convinced, Eileen must have a close relationship with him, because he was in the dance hall yesterday. Discovered Eileen 16, a heart-specific drug. Erin lied that Vincent had some nausea and was resting at home, but my younger brother proposed to visit me again, and asked Irene to go with her. Not far away, Vincent saw this scene. Call Jerome at home now. Let him regain his identity today. Be your true self for once, but paralyzed legs. It's not easy to conquer the spiral staircase, but for the dream they both share, he is willing to try his best. At the same time, my younger brother is also driving quickly. I saw Jerome climbing up with all his strength, although my hands are exhausted, although it is difficult to bend the legs, although the long lost pain made him feel suffocated, but he didn't choose to give up halfway, because he knows that danger is approaching quietly. As the doorbell rings, Jerome starts working harder. Every climb, they are all recalling the self that never gave up. Each step, the progress they make is to safeguard the common hope of the two of them. Even if the road is rough and difficult, perseverance will eventually reach the top.
Anna? I'm here to see Jerome Morrow.
Yes, it's me. Come on.
Then he struggled to move his body and crawled to the table and chair. After holding yourself up with both hands, I quickly dusted off the traces of dust on my body. Then lift up your left leg. Find back the arrogant self you once were. In the end, there was no danger as the two of them approached. Completed the disguise.
Where's my case?
Looking at the stranger in front of me, Eileen hesitated, but he didn't shy away from her invitation to kiss. At this time, the younger brother took out the syringe, request a blood test immediately. But the result is naturally self-evident. However, he did not dispel his suspicions. Looking at the obvious friction marks on the ground, he decided to go downstairs to find out, just as Vincent was belatedly arriving, about to be discovered. My brother's call watch suddenly rang. The police department's men claimed to have detained the murderer, and the murderer, the very executive who has no violent tendencies in his genes. It turns out that the assistant is in the right eye of the deceased. The supervisor's saliva was detected, and now, his dream space program is now a certainty. So he frankly admitted his crime. But after the truth comes out, the younger brother felt disappointed. Obviously, he was not satisfied with the answer, so he went straight to Vincent's workstation. Waiting day and night, I finally waited for my brother whom I hadn't seen for 6 years. Vincent asked why he came here, but the younger brother said that he has the right to enter and leave the space agency at any time, and the purpose of coming this time, it is to arrest and bring to justice the brother who is suspected of being an imposter.
Come with me now. It's over. Is that the only way you can succeed, is to see me fail?
I'm telling you.
God, even you are gonna tell me what I can and can't do now? In case you haven't noticed, I don't need any rescuing, but you did once.
These words instantly touched my brother's unwilling heart.
You beat me that day. I beat myself.
It turns out that many years have passed. My brother is still disappointed with the failure of that coward game, and grudge. Although Vincent said he didn't care about the victory, but the younger brother still shouted to prove himself again. So the two of them immediately came to the beach where they were children. The sea at night is extremely dangerous, as if to swallow everything, but they didn't back down. But they carry their own obsessions, move forward without hesitation. At first, the two refused to give in to each other. No one obeys anyone, but the younger brother is full of resentment. Soon it was extinguished by the coldness of the sea. The fog that seemed to arise seemed to take him back to 6 years ago. The bright moonlight reflected his exhaustion. In the end, he was afraid of death and chose to give up, and asked where Vincent got his magical power.
You wanna know how I did it? This is how I did it, Anton. I never saved anything for the swim back.
A sentence of anger that has never flowed back and forth, but it covers this flaw. Half a lifetime of hard work. No one is born with divine power. No one can reach the top in one step, but there are always people who will spare no effort for their dreams, and this courage to move forward. It is a weapon more powerful than genes. On the way back, my brother was exhausted and drowned in the sea. Upon seeing this, Vincent lifted up his almost dead brother. The estrangement between the brothers, they were all washed away in this sea water. Watch the fog fade away. Dots of starlight come into view. Vincent understands. It's time for him to realize his dream. I thought about it, but before my dream set sail, Vincent found Irene first and handed over a piece of his hair. Let him choose. Turned out to be. Yesterday, colleagues met Vincent and Jerome's Irene. Total collapse and confusion. What broke him was that he felt he had been cheated. Confused. I don't know if I love Jerome's genes. Or is it Vincent's soul? Now looking at the hair in my hands, Erin finally had the answer in her heart. That's spending the rest of your life with Vincent's perfect soul. Even if his genes are full of defects, he is also willing. Then Vincent returned home, but unexpectedly discovered Jerome was ready for him. It looks like it will last a lifetime. Vincent wondered why he did this.
So Jerome will always be here when you need him.
Where are you going?
I'm traveling too.
After hearing this, Vincent thanked him for his kindness, but Jerome said, "It's always you who takes advantage."
I lend you my body. You lend me your dream.
Then he took out another envelope. Tell Vincent to wait until he enters the space chamber before taking it apart. Then Vincent arrived at the launch base. With Jerome's blood, he passed the security check easily. However, at this time, NASA added a new regulation. That is, everyone must undergo a urine test before launch. However, he was unprepared for this and was helpless. I can only look at my unqualified genes. True colors revealed. All your efforts are wasted here. He showed a relieved but unwilling smile. But at this time, the doctor unexpectedly reported the unqualified result. I personally changed it into a qualified one and say, I knew his true identity from the beginning.
Right-handed men don't hold it with their left. Just one of those things.
It turns out that the doctor also has a son with a defect, and my son also admires Vincent very much, because his dream is also to explore the universe, and the doctor, so I chose to help Vincent cheat. In order, it is the spiritual pillar that supports my son on his way to pursue his dreams. Finally, with the help of a doctor, Vincent finally saved the day. I finally got my wish and headed towards the aviation I had longed for. The short passage of the rocket is less than 10 meters, but he has been gone for 16 years. As the staff closed the hatch, Jerome at home also closed the window of the incinerator. Then he took the silver medal that he was ashamed of. Turned out to be the trip he was talking about was a planned suicide. As the rocket ignites, countless flames burst out. Jerome also turned into ashes in the incinerator. But that silver medal is being tempered by the fire, exuded a sparkling golden light, with the rocket rising, cut through the deep blue sky. When Vincent opens his eyes again, there is already a vast sea of stars in front of you. He opened the envelope that Jerome had given him beforehand. Inside is a strand of his lingering hair. Or it symbolizes the remembrance of two people after they say goodbye, or it represents the realization of their common dream. This is a science fiction movie released in 1997, but now, 27 years later, it becomes more and more real. Genes in movies, very similar to our academic qualifications in real life, and genetic testing. It's more like a conventional practice. And deep-seated prejudices. I miss each of us. We all have the experience of being easily denied by the rules. There was also a time when I was full of love, a past that was slain by inherent prejudice. The gossip of others makes us hesitate. Unfair rules constrain us from moving forward. But whenever we encounter these oncoming obstacles, please remember, there are more powerful weapons behind us. That is the heart that spares no effort to move forward. I hope you and I will never let go. But embrace longing and unyielding. Carry hope and courage. Go and walk through Jing, season after season of thorns everywhere. Believe in the lonely sail forged in the vast sea. One day we will reach the other side of love. I also hope that you and I can accept our natural flaws calmly. After all, there is no truly perfect gene in this world. Everyone has inherent flaws. And it is these different flaws. It's what makes us colorful. It also created a wonderful and long life.
You cut me open and I